the Northern Governors Forum has also had a good number of meetings about this thing,
Yeah.
security summits, economic summits, and all of that, all pointing to the need to do a lot more in terms of security and all of that.
Yeah.
But the reasons for the insecurity in the north are also varied.
Yeah.
A number of people have talked about, security experts talk about the need to scale up improve on the inequality,
Yeah.
talk about the poverty and
Poverty,
unemployment and all those
unemployment.
things. So then it would seem like unless we resolve the economic inequalities, the problem of insecurity is going to stay.
Well, I think the issue of the security challenge, I must say, it's not just limited to the North. It's a nationwide problem. The issue of unemployment is a global problem, it's a national problem. But I quite agree with you. When the insurgency started in the Northeast, probably we didn't have enough intelligence monitoring to really get to the root of the whole thing. It's not just about the military might all the time. You have to get to the real cause, the root of the matter, do a lot of analysis as to what you need to do to address the issue. What we see out is just the tip of the iceberg. And the neglect was very clear, and before you knew it, Mohammed Yusuf and his group went underground and they started getting support from outside, weapons, money, and the like, and they became a serious threat. And now that the other issue up in northwestern areas of Nigeria, it started with the cattle rustling, farmer had a crisis, and it was just being seen as a normal thing and so on. Before you knew it, it's no longer rustling of cattle. They are kidnapping. They've become burglars. They break houses. It's no longer kidnapping even on the street. They go into houses to kidnap. So I think we need to address the entire issue of poverty, education, unemployment. When we had the opportunity in Kano, we involved the community in all of these things. It's not just enough for government to sit and dish out policies and programs. You need to involve the community. We created what we call the Societal Orientation Program. I think it's quite a popular program in Kano, where we involve the people to be part of the process. We sort of a council of about 50 people. I and the Emir of Kano were co-chairmen of the council. We sit almost every month. We bring in all kind of representation from different parts of the society. The youth are there, the ulamas are there, the clerics are there, the politicians are there, the business people are there. And it was a very successful program that we're able to sensitize the people. Even this so-called skill acquisition. When we collect about 1,000 youths, before you send them to apprentices and to acquire skills, we camp them during the vacation of the school. We use the school's premises. We keep them for about 4 weeks. All we do is to inject into their head, why do you need a skill? Why do you need source of income? Unless you do that, we've had instances in many states where you give them empowerment of equipment, they cross the road and sell it out, and back to square one again.
You were also instrumental in the setting up of Hisbah, which is some sort of community policing.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've seen the trends across states, governors saying, well, we need to have more control over security such that, we are the chief security officers, not the chief logistic officers, as some have put it.
Yes.
So looking at the agitation now, what do you think? You talked about the Borno State governor feeling helpless.
Yeah.
So what should be the way forward regarding governors having some control over security in their state?
Well, I think the idea of community policing is one of the key factors that will give us the success story about moving forward. There's no way I agree that you can achieve any success in security without involving the community, because the people living there know themselves, know the terrain. When you bring in the police, the army, they don't know the terrain, they don't have the cooperation of the community, it wouldn't work. We have seen the very good example of that. When we did the Hisba, call it anything, it's community policing. We recruited 20 Hisba guys in every ward. We had 484 wards in Kano. And these were volunteers, responsible people that came up to do the services. And within the first 1-2 years, we checked all the vices within the state. At the moment anything erupts in any community, it will be discovered, it will be noticed, it will be brought to the attention of the leadership of the ward, to the local government before it even gets to the state. It worked. I think a couple of months back, when we invited the Inspector General of Police to the Senate, he was due for about 5 hours. At the end, he was the one that even pointed at me in the chamber. He said, look, former governor is sitting there. He did community policing. It worked. And I addressed the Senate. And we contributed in what is now known as the guidelines for community policing. I was involved in all of these things. And unless we really involve the community in this security issue.
But, so do you think it's okay to have, I mean, you've seen that they've trained about 10,000 constables still concerning security. So how do you think they should be deployed? Some are saying the commissioners of police should be responsible for the deployment. Some say the governors, or at least the state government, should be responsible. This is some form of dilemma.
I think both have to work together. You see, we created a law in Kano, the Hisba Board law, which was through legislation and so on. We had the police representation on the board. We had representation of the immigration, the custom, all the services, the civil defense, and so on. So you can't separate the two. I think that there was no point arguing whether it is the commissioner of police or the governor that should do that. And the issue of deployment, if the recruitment is right, as we did, recruiting from every ward within the local government, you don't have to bother yourself of deployment and so on. The Hisba we recruited for every ward, they worked within the ward. There is no point if you take a community policing officer from one local government and throw him to the other, you are back to square one. You see, it's like the deployment of the Nigerian police force to the places they are not used to. But the essence of the community policing is the people living there to monitor themselves, policing themselves. So the question of deployment does not even arise. Recruit from within the community and allow them to work within the community.